Hi there, everyone. Is it really true that bad days could be good for you? They absolutely are. And in today's episode, I'm going to teach you the 3 reasons why bad days can be really good for you. You know, I was inspired to put this episode up as a rewind episode. That's right. This is a Strength, Yoga, and Freedom rewind episode. The episode originally aired on February 9th of 2023. And if you listen to the last episode of this podcast, which was broadcast last Thursday, I shared with you in real time how I was having a really bad anxiety day and some of the things that had happened to me on that day. And I just felt it was really important for us to revisit this episode to remind ourselves, if you've already heard it or even listened for the first time, all about why these bad days happen to us and why they're actually good for you. So enjoy this episode, this Strength, Yoga, and Freedom Rewind episode. I will see you in there. Okay, I'm sure that you have had a bad day, or more than one in your life, or dozens of them. And the great news is you have survived 100% of them. And the other good news is they're actually good for you. And today I am going to teach you the 3 reasons why right here on this episode. Hello, everyone. My name is Justin. Welcome to the Strength, Yoga, and Freedom podcast. This is the podcast where we use the philosophy of yoga in a practical and everyday way, one small step at a time to become happier people. Before we get into this episode, please be sure to consider subscribing to our weekly email. Yes, that's only 1 email per week. I give you tons of information on what's coming up in future episodes of this podcast, on what's going on our YouTube channel, and other exclusive and bonus coachings that I don't talk about here on this podcast or on the YouTube channel. Don't forget also you can connect with me at Justin Ricky Yoga. That's JustinRickyYoga, Justin Ricky Yoga on Instagram. You can follow the link in the show notes. It's there for you. And if you're also so inclined, you can donate to this podcast through listener support, or you can even buy me a coffee, which are also linked in the show notes. And I really am truly grateful for those of you who already have supported and who continue to support this community as it grows. It helps me to keep bringing you new content. So let's get right into why bad days are actually good for you. And I have 3 ways. Now, I want to say that I am talking about having bad days here and there. There's not a number of bad days that are good or are bad. There's no, set specific number where once you reach that number, there's a problem or there's an alarm that goes off. Bad days are very personal to people. If you do, though, feel trapped or like there's no hope, or it's one bad day or after another, and you're filled with depression or anxiety, it's very, very important to talk to your medical professional about that. Nothing that I teach in any of this podcast is a substitute for going to any type of therapy or getting medical attention for anything that you feel is necessary. So I always like to get that out of the way when we're talking about things like this. We know what a bad day feels like, right? We know that you might have the following things happen to you in the course of a bad day. So let's map out what that could look like. You could wake up in the morning, number 1, and you feel anxious already for no reason. You just wake right up and feel absolutely extremely anxious. Nothing has happened to you, but you feel that sense that something is wrong or something is going to go wrong. That could be the start of it. Then number 2, you go through your morning and already things start to seem off. You spill something in the kitchen, the kids are being crankier than normal or not moving to the degree that you need them to get ready for their day. You can't find your shoes, whatever, and then you start running late. Then number 3, traffic is bad. You have to take a detour. Maybe your check engine light comes on, or you notice that you have a tire that's low pressure. You notice you don't have enough gas for both your going and your coming commutes. And none of this, you haven't even been to work yet and all of this stuff has happened. Number 4, work can suck. Someone snaps at you at work. You don't take You didn't like the lunch that you had. Everyone seems to be annoying and needy. And all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, I can't take this anymore. This is a horrible day. It has started from me opening my eyes. And then when you get home, it's the same nonsense. Dinner can suck. It could be screwed up. Your social media feed is super negative. Someone sends you this big, long emotional text or asks you a bunch of emotional questions and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't take any more of this. I can't. You're pulling your hair out. We have all had days or a variation of days like this, right? You've had one. I've had them. Everyone has had them. It is important to understand that these days will happen again, and there is absolutely no solution to stop having bad days altogether. There is not one solution out there in this world, and there will never be. And even when you are doing all of this work, if you've been listening to me for a while, or you're an avid person who's avid about turning their life into the direction that you want to turn it into, even when you're doing those things and you're seeing that you're becoming happier and things are being more joyful and having more peace, you will still have bad days. It is proven that you will have less bad days, of course, when you change your mindset and your outlook on things. That, if that has happened to you, you are living proof of that. It's important to understand bad days will still come. In yoga, we practice what is known as Ishvara Pranidhana, and that is translated to surrendering. So often we want to take these bad days and we want to have hissy fits or temper tantrums or fits of anger because we don't want to feel like this anymore. Even after you wake up, you don't like the way you feel and you don't want to feel like this. Why in the hell is everyone acting so stupid today? Did you ever ask yourself that question? What's going on with people today, or what's in the air? Right? Did you ever feel like that? You see, our egos want us to be stable at all times, and that's okay. That's why we have an ego. It's there to protect us. But Ishvara Pranidhana teaches us to slow down and to surrender. And no, I'm not talking about when you have a bad day, you should slow down and turn things around. That's not what I'm talking about. And you will see that here in just a moment. So I want you to understand, if you're already thinking that's where I'm going, that's not where this is going at all. The opening of the heart with Ishvara Pranidhana and surrendering to what is can be way more powerful than pushing through and trying to fix a bad day. This is why I believe, and this is what I was just referring to, it's why I believe some of the worst advice you could be given is that you can turn that frown upside down, or, oh, you just need to take a minute and regroup and the day will get better, just pause, or, oh, good vibes only. Okay, that's all bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why that's all bullshit. That is called toxic positivity. It is a real documented thing. You are having a bad day for a reason. And I want to talk to you about the 3 things that Ishvara Pranidhana teaches us in a practical way, because it is good for us to have these bad days. And we are not focusing on toxic positivity here, where we're going to stop and do mantras or meditations or even exercising, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, in the middle of the day, because we think that's going to be a cure-all. Or we turn to other things to help cure bad days, like substances, like alcohol or some type of drug, and we turn to that. Those aren't going to help you in the long run. So let's talk about the 3 ways that having a bad day is actually good for us. Number 1, when you wake up in that state of anxiety, remember that I talked about that earlier? When you wake up in that state of anxiety, your body is already in a state of alarm. All you've been doing is sleeping, and you're waking up in a state of alarm. This is because you are filled with way less dopamine, which is the happy hormone, happy chemical in your mind and in your brain, and you're filled with more cortisol, which is a stress-inducing chemical or hormone in your brain. And the first thing I want to teach you is that this is okay and it is normal. Our body chemicals can and do fluctuate based on a ton of factors. So there could be a day you are waking up and you're feeling very imbalanced. This is good because your body is naturally flowing depending on what has happened, whether it's exercise or no exercise. Maybe eating habits have changed, or you ate something. And this doesn't have to be the day before. This could be from days prior. You ate something differently. Maybe you have leftover issues that have happened over the past few days or weeks or months. It's very good to have some imbalance in your hormones because your body needs to adjust to that, and it cannot adjust your hormones in real time. Remember how I just said about using a substance to fix a bad day like alcohol? Alcohol is a temporary sedative, which is going to try to alter your brain activity and the way your body operates quickly and in a very, very speedy process. And that's not natural for your body. And I'm not suggesting you should never drink alcohol. I am saying that when you do something like that and you switch your body chemistry quickly, your body is then going to have to readjust its way out of that as well. So your body is always adjusting hormone levels up, down, around and round, and that could be the reason your day has started off like shit and you just woke up. So that's number one. Number two, bad days allow emotion to be set free. Listen, on most days, the majority of us are going around without a ton of emotions. And when I'm talking about emotions, I'm talking about having that constant feeling of anger or constant feeling of sadness or constant feeling like you're going to cry. We don't feel like that every day, all day. That's why I mentioned if you do feel like that every day, all day, it's very important to talk to your medical professional. But for the majority of us, the day is just kind of we're going, day by day by day, kind of pretty neutral. We just kind of go up and down a little bit, as I mentioned with the hormones in number one. But what if you do need a good cry? What if you need that day where you just need to feel the effects of something that happened a week ago, a month ago? You need to release the toxins from your body through crying or writing out your negative feelings in your journal or unloading or venting to your friend or your partner, whoever, just to get all that crap out, because that is a gateway. That bad day is a gateway to letting your emotions out. Your body is saying, stop and start to feel some of these emotions and let them go. I don't want to store it anymore. That's number two. Bad days allow emotion to be set free. Number three, right after we come back. All right, we already talked about how physiologically your body may need bad days or your emotions may need bad days. And this again is where Ishvara Pranidhana comes in, as we practice surrendering to what is. Like in a physical yoga class, if you've ever taken a physical yoga class or even any type of exercise and you do a cool down, but I want to talk about specifically in a physical yoga class, we do all types of physical work during the practice, whether it's a power practice or a slower practice. There's still work involved, and your body is moving in directions that it doesn't do, minute by minute by minute throughout the day. So there could be some unpleasantries, and there could be things that feel good, but at the end you release in Shavasana. And then a lot of times, and Shavasana, for those of you that don't know, is corpse pose, where you just lay on your mat at the end and you just are. You just be. You are just still. And a lot of times you experience a flood of emotions in Shavasana. But number three piggybacks off of all of that, all of the Ishvara Pranidhana stuff we've been talking about. And that is that the bad day forces you to stop. That's right. This could be the most important one of them all. There is no reason to fight, no reason to try and force yourself to try and feel better. Yes, taking a walk or a drive or listening to music or getting a little creative may help you, but they are not cure-alls. I have exercised on bad days, and when I was done with the exercise, I have felt so angry, and that's because my body is releasing those emotions. And again, exercise is super important for long-term physical and emotional health, but it is not a fix for a bad day. Just like alcohol is not a fix for a bad day. Just like going for a walk only on a bad day is not a fix for a bad day. But when you are forced to say, you know what, fuck this. It's a bad day. I hate it. I'm just going to ride the waves. I'm getting out of work. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm shutting down my technology. I'm going to kind of draw within, come within, or I'm going to hang out maybe with one other person, a loved one, whomever it is. You are forcing yourself to stop. Yes, this is the universe telling you, hey, stop for a second. Please. You're moving too fast. Please release some of this out, would you? This is the universe telling you to stop. That's number 3. You see, without these bad days and what you just learned, you cannot get a chance to deepen into your feelings. Let the shit out that needs to. Allow your body to recalibrate or whatever it is that you need. And when you work your way through these bad days, the happier days become much happier. And another thing I want to say about bad days, please do not tell someone who is having a bad day to suck it up or deal with it. That is like telling someone who is angry to calm down. Have you ever been told to calm down if you're getting angry? I bet you have, and that makes you even more angry. No, that's not what we want to do. That's toxic positivity again. What we want to do is be supportive and empathetic if someone else is having a bad day and not tell them to suck it up or to deal with it, because that only makes the other person feel as though they are not normal for feeling like it's a bad day. So I hope that these things that I have taught you have given you a way to look at bad days in a different light. Maybe now the next time one creeps up on you, you're going to say, all right, it's here. We're going to have to work with this and move through it. And we're going to have to release. We're not going to fight. We're not going to push our way to all these different things that are going to try to help us in the short term. We're really going to just say, fuck it. And we're going to chill out and go to bed and start all over again the next day. And that's the beauty of yoga, my friends, is that every day and all day is a chance for a new beginning. So I am so grateful that you have listened to this episode, and I can't wait to see you next week right here on the Strength, Yoga, and Freedom podcast. Okay, one last thing. The content in the Strength, Yoga, and Freedom podcast is not intended as a replacement or a substitution for the advice of any medical professional, like a physician, a psychologist, or a qualified therapist, or any other medical professional. It is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only.